Right, well, I'm back at Nadebor, and it's raining, and my garden is gone, but these piles of dirt remain. Um, I didn't know that gardens did that. And there you go. So, when I've hidden things under a garden, the garden disappears. So, I guess the garden disappears after a server restart, because there's been a number of restarts, but there has definitely not been a server wipe. And it hasn't been a very long time. So I need to deal with that, and to do that, I need to get into Nadebor, and I need to get some gardening tools because I still don't have any, and it's obviously tipping with rain. So I'm going to go and do that. Right, welcome back again. I've been over to Nadebor and I got myself a hoe. Um, as you saw, the garden had deteriorated, so I redid the garden and reburied the two crates. And I have come back here. These are not those crates. These are two new crates, and I've opted to put them in here in my shelter, um, because I only have this hoe, which is not in the greatest of condition. It's damaged, and I've used it already. I have to use it again, and I only have two sharpening stones, and between them, I mean, it's really barely one. I have some extra sharps for things. My axe, my hatchet is critical, so I need to mind it, and my hoe is critical, and I need to mind it. So rather than bury these and use my hoe a couple of times and then have to use my sharpening stone, I had to use my sharpening stone anyway for my hatchet. I cut down a couple of trees to make enough planks to make a couple of boxes, and in the end I just filled the boxes, so I've got 100 200 storage in here. This faces directly into the trees, and you can't, with the rocks and the other litter and things that's kicking around, it is what it is. It's temporary. I'm not planning on being here for an awfully long time. Um, I haven't seen evidence of anybody coming out here, or I wouldn't have built this here. So yeah, so I'm considering this temporary storage. So in my temporary storage, I have a bunch of stuff that I do not need right now, um, but stuff that I will need. And I've even got a little bit of room. What have I got in there? I've got room for 10 in there. I could I could chuck that in there and that in there, and then leave a bit more room in my crate. But basically what I'm carrying in my character is everything that I think is essential. Um, and that's it. Oh, I could drop that. I was moving some stuff around and I don't actually need that. So there you go. And the key here is, and look, and none of it's super valuable stuff. It's a bit of ammo, it's some base building stuff, it's a camo net, it's stuff. It's things that you need to get by, um, but it's not exactly, super fantastically marvelous loot, that people will go giddy with glee running across. But there you go. These are the things that you need in DayZ. So the key is, obviously I have two crates. I want to bring one crate as is in my hunter backpack, which is fine. I only need 50 in there and I can slot it straight in. That's no drama. Um, and I have an additional, what's that, 16 and 32, 92, and 3, that's 95. So I have enough, I believe, um, to be able to do that. Did my math go well there? 63 and 16 is 79. 63 and 16 is 79, and 32 is over 100 and something. So yeah, my math is dreadful. As you will have noticed earlier when I was trying to tell you that the map was 40 kilometers by 40 kilometers when it's actually 13 by 13, but it doesn't matter. What matters is we're here now and it's not about pointing fingers, okay? Okay. Right, so it takes me about an hour to get over there and come back. I'm going to do it in a oneer while it's daylight. I need to dry out. I need to drop by the pond and pick up some water because I'm running low on water. So I'm going to go do that. Hopefully not get shot. I'm just on the outskirts of Nadebor. So it should be relatively straightforward, he says. And then once I get everything back here, we can plan the trip up to just outside to Poland, and whether we do it all in one or try and do it in stages, I don't know. But I'll have a think about that while I'm running through the woods. And I'll see you all again soon. Right, well, here I am back in my shelter. It is obviously night time. And yeah, what do you know? It's raining. Right, and I'm back. And I have all my gear, which is over here. So we need to make a decision about what we're taking first, and what that looks like. So I just want to get my shelter because I'm getting a bit cold. So let's talk about this while we're sitting here and while it's raining and people aren't running around. So we're somewhere out here outside Swarog, and what I want to do is Topolin is up here. So what I want to do is I want to find somewhere that's south of the river, because if we're going to harass whoever these people are into Poland, and they're in central to Poland, right in the center where the blue roots and the red roots kind of meet. I want to be on this side of the river, and I want to be on this side of the river because it gives us options. If our base is on the other side of the river, we've got to cross that bridge or we've got to swim for it, which is not my idea of fun. So I'm thinking that this is all open land, so we want to be over on this side somewhere, and I need to have a look at that when I get up there. So the plan is that we have the red route, but I don't actually want to take it. Well, not all the way anyway. There are like little places I can stop. There's little things there. So what I think I want to do is I want to stay off the beaten track. So I want to head over to Polana. I want to see if I can pick up some rope or enough rags to make rope in Polana. Because I'm going to need rope for a shelter kit. At least one, if not two. If I pick up some rope, I might also pick up some rags. And then what we'll do is we will follow the red route over to this place. It's called Jezurao. And then I think we'll probably go all the way over to this minor road. And we'll follow this minor road up, and we might stop at that little pond for some fishing. We might check out whatever that hut location is. We'll probably dip back into Zalisi. Maybe, if we need to. And we'll carry on up this road outside Zalisi, or we'll head out into the woods somewhere outside Zalisi and see what it looks like, because I don't know what it looks like. If it's wide open space, it isn't going to work. We might have to find a new location. My sort of primary concern is I need to be able to stash my gear somewhere, and we need to be able to find an area which is easy to find where I can stash my gear. And then I might, because I realized that where is it? Oh no, Gleniska's all the way over there. I was going to say I realized that the stuff that I buried in the woods in Gleniska might not be safe. And I'm going to want to go and get it at some point because there was stuff that I wanted and I have to go all the way over to Graben because there's also stuff in the woods outside Graben that I want. And look, I didn't realize there's another castle up there. So there's a couple of things I want to do. So for right now, I want to see what I need to take, what I can fit, and we'll head up to outside Zalisi, and we'll see what the place looks like, because that's what I need to do. So that's probably not going to be exciting for you to watch. So I'm going to sort all that out and decide what I'm taking, and then I'll call you back somewhere on the road. See you soon. So here we are in the woods outside Topolin, and I literally just run into the woods, and I've already found one base. So that's not a good sign for me, because if I wanted to make something secure and out of the way, it seems like this might not be it. Although, let's have a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely vacant, and we could definitely break it down. Is it because they left? You know? Did they leave, or were they raided? You know, that's the question that I would want to know the answer to, because if we're going to go and try to emulate that out here, and there's already one, then could be a bit of a drama. Anyway, I'm going to look around for now because I need to scout some places out and have a look at things like where we're going to put shelters and interim things for storage so I can get my stuff up here, which isn't going to be exciting. So I'll see you all again soon. Right, here we are again, a little shelter somewhere in the woods outside Topolin. I found this little spot. Never mind the cut down tree. I had a heck of a job placing this, and I know it looks exposed over there, but bear with me. Yeah, I had a heck of a job placing this because I had it further in here, and I was trying to see if I could squeeze it in here by chopping down a couple of trees, one of which I've turned into logs, and that will spawn back here. And I didn't mean to chop down that one, but something went wrong with the collision boxes and I accidentally chopped down that one. But it's going to spawn here, so there'll be another tree here as well. So it's shielded on 3 sides essentially. And the beauty of this is if you're out here in the woods, trekking through the woods, it's on a bit of a dip, and there's no silhouette for it to give it away. It's hidden amongst the silhouette of the other trees. So unless you're actually close enough to see it, you're probably not going to see it anyway. At least temporarily for a while, till I figure out what's going on, and I've put my case of goodies here for now, which is actually in itself pretty hard to see unless you actually know it's there. And I've left it there. So yeah, so we're out in Topolin. We've practically run out of sharpening stones, so I'm going to head back to Zalisi. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop off the stuff that I do not need right now. Oh, something happened. It's because of this thing. Let's get it into the shelter before it glitzes me out or breaks my shelter. Yeah, so I'm going to drop off a few of the things that I don't need right now and leave them in the shelter, and I'm going to head back and I'm going to get my stashed gear, and I don't actually need to bring that now because I'm not going to bury anything for right now, and I haven't buried anything where we are. I'm going to keep my hatchet because you never know. I've got too many sharp objects probably, so I can ditch some of that, carry some weight if I need to. Again, too many sharp objects. Blood bag, rope I don't need right now. Chlorine I might need. Tets because you never know. And the food that's in there, and the nails only takes up one, so I'm not bothered. And the other stuff, oh sorry, the other stuff that's in my container. So I've emptied most of my gear. I've got nothing in my backpack, so I can fit an entire case in there. I've got about 5 in there, and I've got, what have I got? I've got room in there, so I can carry a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to head back. I'm going to head back through Zalisi, and I want to see if I can pick up some more sharpening stones, or maybe another hatchet, or maybe another saw. I'm not really sure, something like that. And then I'll pick up my gear and head back this way again. And like I said, I'm going to leave that stuff there because I think it's actually pretty well hidden. So it's probably better hidden than if I left it up here. Yeah, look, these shelters can be a pain in the butt. They really can. You can, there with these collision boxes. I wish they'd sort it out. It's definitely a quality of life improvement. Sort out the collision boxes on the shelters, because even though there's space on the ground, like even though there's space on the ground here, and there's nothing around for it to collide with when you build it, I don't think. You can't build it here, which is a nuisance, because this was perfect. It's even a little bit more secluded than there, but it won't even let you. It let me put it right here, which is it right in between these two trees, but could I get it to build? No. So you put the wood and the long sticks and the short sticks in, and it says build, and no matter what I tried, I couldn't get it to build. And I think it's this stuff. I think it might be this stuff on the ground. I think I'm sufficiently on the edge. It doesn't like things on the ground. Apparently it doesn't mind those pine cones, but I can't see why it was so. It took me 4 goes to get it to pop. And sometimes it does. So let me know if you want me to do a special on that. And I can have a look at doing it on a community server or something, because they are a pain in the bottom. And I can always go and show you some of the ins and outs and how you go about fixing it. So that's it. So that's us. So the daylight is waning. So what I shall do is I shall get on the road and I'll head out past Zalisi and see what I can find. I'll head on down to Polana, see what I can find, and then I'll head on down to where my gear is stashed and pick it up and bring it back again, and we'll start all over again. I don't know if I'll get it all in one go. I'll let you know, and somewhere along the line I'll have to stop and do some fishing. So I've still got my fishing rod with hook. If I pick up a chicken outside Zalisi, that'll be good. I might need a spare hook. Yeah, and we'll carry on regardless, as they say. So we'll see you soon. Right. I'm calling you back again because I came down here and ran around and found a nice place to build and all. There's a base right there. A huge one, currently active. Lots of tents in it, fully loaded, all set up. No way in. So I can't stay here. I can't stay here. After all that effort, I didn't realise I walked 2 minutes, and there's a base. It just goes to show you how popular up here is. But I'm gonna have to move. If they come out here just chopping down trees, they'll just bump into it. They won't even, so I can't even use it temporarily, I don't think, because it literally is right there. Which is a significant pain in my buttocks, I can tell you, because I spent quite a bit of time doing this. So I'm gonna have to empty it again, and I'm gonna take my kit, and I'm gonna leave the wood here, and I'm gonna head further around somewhere else. And see if I can find something. I still think that my case is probably fine for now, temporarily. I don't think they'll go all this way, and unless you actually know where it is and stumble across it, you're never going to find it. Which begs the question, am I ever going to find it? I don't know. I don't know if I've got enough room to put it in there. I need 50. And I don't know. That's only got 2. What's that got? 14, 24, 27. Anyway, I've got some stuff to do. I'll see you soon. Right, so here we are again. same plan, different place. I'm not super happy. The river's down there. This is a power line, which may mean that people use it to navigate out to the edge of the map. I mean, the edge of the map's right there. It's not a million miles away. There's nothing out here. I mean, the only benefit I have, again, is the same things that I did before. Unless you actually know what you're looking for, this is pretty well hidden. It's broken up by the trees, so it's sort of hidden in and around the trees. It's sheltered on a lot of sides. You know, and it's got my back to any of the regular ways, so if I'm sitting in it, then hopefully people will not notice that I am here, and that will be all good. I buried my stash next to a tree. It's a bit of a craft. I hope I can dig it up again. If you stick a crate very up close next to the trunk of a tree, there's lots of branches which are collision boxes, which makes it very hard to actually select it, and you have to get in just the right sweet spot to select it to be able to dig it up. So I hope I can do that. And we're out of sharpening stones. And that's that. We gotta find some more sharpening stones. That's just what we gotta do. So I'm gonna go back to the plan, which was ditch some of this stuff at what is my new temporary hideaway, while I go back to Zalisi and Polena and all of that kind of jazz, because that's what I need to do. I mean, yeah, and I've got my medical bag in case I need it, in case something drastically goes wrong. I've got some food still in there, which I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to catch some more, because I have to. And I've got my chlorine for water. I got my hatchet, because I really feel that they're quite rare, and I got a spare knife and a bandage and some ammo for my weapon. So yeah, so that's it. This is plan B. It's not that bad. I think it works quite well. To the casual viewer, you're probably not going to see it very well. So yeah, so that's it. As a positive, hey, we know where there's a big base in the woods that needs raided, right? And I have a bunch of hand grenades. I mean, an absolute bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like at least 9, including the 40mm explosive, which I think will go off next to a hand grenade. Maybe 10. That should be enough to blow a hole in a wall. They haven't got through making an outer defense ring of wall frames yet, so they haven't finished. So with any luck, we can probably blast through a wall and get in and do a bit of nasty raiding and sneak out and stash some gear down here. Maybe make some more crates. Yeah, maybe make another shelter, not a million miles away. Maybe make a little cluster of them. This may become our base. We may be able to build walls around this little place and make it a little bit of a safe haven. But we'll see how we go, eh? Cracking on. Right, Cura again, team. Well, here we are. We're back at our little shelter down at Svarog, and everything is still here, which is all really, really good. So what is here and what are we taking? Well, there's more stuff that we need to carry. That said, this is all ammunition for guns I don't have. So and scopes and things, and some spare chicken feathers, and some spare wire that I couldn't have, and a battery that I pilfered on the way here. And I did want to try and keep the fishing rod, but at the end of the day, I can always make up another fishing rod like I did here with a bit of rope and a stick. So it's not the end of the world to lose the fishing rod. I really have enough suppressors. The scope is a bit damaged, and again, I've seen quite a few of those. None of this is precious to me. What we're taking is ammo for the guns that we do have. Some rope that I got and or made along the way, because we will need rope for base building purposes. And yeah, it's always in short supply. So when I've been killing an animal like this goat that I killed, and I'm cutting its guts up and making it into rope. Which, if you don't know, I don't, I'm sorry, I don't know. I realized that I've assumed that because you're watching me now, you've watched all of my previous seasons, and you may not. So I'll fill in a couple of tips. I thought I'd let's have let's have tip time with Tim. Um, Tim the Toolman Taylor. Rah, 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 rah. Anyway, go Heidi. Um, if you kill an animal and it's got guts, you use a sharp knife and combine the sharp knife with the guts, you get rope. It's really it is the simplest and fastest way to get rope, really. If you want rags, you need two full stacks of rags. That's a 6 and a 6. So you normally need to find clothes to do that. And you chop up the clothes, and depending on the quality and the size of the material that you're using, you get anywhere between, say, 1 and about 4, I think, is the maximum I've seen. So you need to do it a few times. You need to carry the rags around, then you need to combine them, then you get one rope. You get one full rope from one bag of guts, and which means in most animals you get two bags of guts. So you can mostly get 2 ropes from one animal. I got 2 ropes from a goat. I've got 2 ropes from a sheep. I think you maybe get more from a cow. Can't remember. Get 3 guts from a cow? Can't remember. Anyway, that's what you do to get rope. So that's a handy tip. Uh, what else are we bringing with us? Essentials: sharp knife for travel. We've got a hand hatchet up there at the top. We've got stuff to repair our clothes if we need to along the way. Really, really, really short of sharpening stones quite badly. I did check into Zalisi again on the way down here. Still no stones. So, it's going to make the importance of having sharp knives for getting short sticks and long sticks when we need them, but when we need logs and things, we're going to need hatchets and we're going to need splitting axes. So that's going to be fun. This Mark II that we found along the way, it currently has nothing in it, but there are some 22 rounds back at base, or back at the stash, I do believe, in one of my boxes. So my intent is to replace the 9mm with this, because the 9mm has too many moving parts, and the 22 is just perfect for popping infected, and the 9mm's no good for shooting players. I mean, as a last ditch effort, yes, at close range if you shoot them, but they're usually better to have something bigger. So really, I just want the holster and that for that Mark II. So that's that, which will free up a bit of space, and I've got my trusty spare knife for everything. I picked up a pristine shovel along the way, which is excellent because we can use that and ditch it. We don't need for if we want to dig anything or dig anything up. You can't repair it that I know of. If anyone has found a way to repair a shovel, let me know. But I have never found one. So whereas you can sharpen hoes, so I've got 2 hoes, so we can use them last because they're always repairable. The shovel is not; it's just a disposable. Bringing the epoxy to fill a gap. We've got this walloping great big huge splitting axe, which is in pretty good condition, which again we're going to need for building bases and stuff. Another spare knife for stuff, some barbed wire and things. And in here we have a whole load of other things, which we can't do anything with while we're standing in there. So let us move out of there and have a look. We'll put it on the ground. So we have code lock, spare set of gloves, we have our spare jacket, we have a couple of spare suppressors, because I've got space for them essentially. Spare rounds for my 308, I've got an explosive grenade. I do believe we can set that off if we drop it on the ground and drop another grenade next to it, so we can still use it for breaking into bases. I've got a spare belt, because it's a good belt. And I've got some rope and fishing hook and a gun cleaning kit. So, and I can fit that in my backpack. So I can fit everything in my backpack. Amazing, isn't it, that I've managed to hide that all in my backpack? Look at my stamina bar, though. I mean, talk about pretty low. Blimey O'Reilly. It is pretty low. So, yeah, and this is our shelter, and we're going to leave all the rest of the stuff in the shelter for now and say goodbye. Um, you know, if we come back this way, the shelter's here. It's no great dramas. It hangs around for, well, I don't know, is it 45 days? Um, and every time you interact with it, it stays there. Is that right? Oh, I can't remember. Um, yeah, so there we go. So that's what we're doing, and I'm going to head back. And then when we get back to the base site, we're going to have a think about what we're going to do with that. I'll talk about that when we get there. But hey, just like a couple of tips I wanted to talk about while we were here, and I can't. I'm really annoyed that the free look doesn't allow me to actually. You cannot actually look at me. I can't actually face the camera, so we cannot have this conversation. But you can have a look at the lovely shelter instead. The backdrop of the lovely shelter. So I was heading out of I was heading into Zalisi, and I I checked out the town from a distance through my scope to see if I could see any Zeds around. And I'll explain why in a minute. I couldn't see any Zeds around. And the reason I did that was because on the way over to Zalisi, I saw a mushroom, and I ate it because it was in good condition, which is, free food, by the way. As long as the mushroom is dried or in good condition, you can eat it. If it's got spots on it, don't eat it. If it says raw and rotten, and it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't have spots on it. If it's got spots on it, don't eat it. That goes for there's the penny bun, there's the large parasol mushroom, and I think there's a small field mushroom as well. It's all the same. Dried or fresh, you're all good. Don't eat the ones with the green spots. So it is it is often discussed that mushrooms are a sign of a player being in the area, and that is true. That player could be you. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, when I went into Zalisi, I had a look around. I couldn't see any Zeds had been spawned, which is another trigger for a player. By the way, I'll explain why in a minute. So there was no Zeds already in. I headed down into the town of Zalisi, and there was no Zeds. And then I heard them spawn in while I was down there. So that means that I triggered them spawning in, which means there must have been a time gap between whenever the last player was through there and I got there because I triggered the Zeds. However, I did notice that the a lot of the sheds had been opened. Now, doors to buildings randomly spawn open or shut. But if all of the doors are open or all of the doors are shut, then that's cause for concern. And all of the shed doors had been opened. So I started to get a bit suspicious about that. I also found discarded things in places where they shouldn't be. Like I found a discarded gun just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, and a discarded battery under a tree. And it's like, well, they shouldn't be there. So someone has been through moving stuff around. I travelled up the red road, and I got to the camping place, which I think is it Pioneer? Let's have a look. A quick look. Look at this. Zalisi. Yeah, Pioneer is the camping place. So I went into the evidence of some activity on the road here on the way into Zalisi. Evidence in Zalisi. Evidence in Pioneer, possibly, because again, all of the camp cabin doors were open. Oh, and here, there's this house. No, not that one. Yeah, so evidence of the camping there. I then came up the red route. Rah, 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 rah. Right, there's this little house right here. Well, I went in there, and the fire was cooling, but not stone cold, so it still had purple. And there was a pile of rags and a half bottle of detergent and things, and a log. So clearly someone had cut down some wood and dragged some logs in there, and lit a fire at some point. Disinfected some rags, perhaps. and they had a very small bit of disinfectant left that they couldn't use, so they've got some disinfectant rags because they didn't have bandages, and they cooked some food, possibly chicken, and then they went off on down the red route and headed out to Polena, I think. I was just having a look around the outskirts of Polena when Polena got hit with a gas strike, so I had to leave it. I had to get out of there because you cannot hang around, sir. You cannot hang around while there is stuff going on. So yeah, so there was somebody there. So that brings me down to, oh, mushrooms. I mean, there's people around. Yeah. So here's how this works, right? And I got this from Wobo, and you've seen me speak to him before, and I'll link him again down below. Go have a look at the stuff; it's great. So your player is surrounded by what we call instances, which is kind of like a bubble, or in this case, it's probably more like a large cylinder that has a number of diameters that it spreads out from where your character is, and your character is in the center of that um, circle. Um, so whenever for mushrooms and fruit, it's exactly the same. So when your instance, which is this bubble that you're in, moves through the environment and it passes through an area where fruit and mushrooms would normally spawn, and there's a whole lot of rules about where they spawn, and because they don't just spawn everywhere, right? So drive the computer crazy if every single area could potentially spawn something. Um, so it sees that area where the mushroom might spawn, which is in a 150-meter bubble around you, and says, right, okay, will a mushroom spawn there? Roll the dice. And it rolls the, random number generator dice, and it spits out a number. And if the number is the correct number, hey presto, a mushroom spawns. And there's a possibility for the mushroom to spawn in is it all three conditions or two conditions? I can't remember which. I think it's it can spawn in dried or it can spawn in raw, but it doesn't spawn in rotten. So if you find one that is raw, or you find one that is, if you find one that's raw, it means someone was there relatively recently, which I think is like within 15 minutes. If you find one that is dried, the dried ones hang around for a while and they don't go rotten, so it's hard to say. But if you find one that's rotten, it means that a player was through there more than 15 minutes ago. That's the idea, and that's the notion, right? But you can also spawn a mushroom, so they don't all happen behind you. So a mushroom could spawn in front of you, but you did it, and then you run up to the mushroom and go, "Oh, there's players around." There is. It's you. Same with fruit. People don't go, "Oh, if you find fruit, there's a player around." There could be, and it could just be you. And I think another content creator watch called Always Streams says they're guaranteed to spawn within 15 minutes. So if you stay in a single location, say around a barn with haystacks, for example, barns and haystacks are great places for mushrooms to spawn. If you were to sit there for 15 minutes of real time and get up and go around, you probably find a bunch of mushrooms, right? That's because you spawned them in. The same with the fruit. If you find an orchard that you know spawns fruit, and you sit and wait for 15 minutes, you'll get fruit, right? And that's how you get free food if you want free food. And it's the same with fruit. Spawns in raw, spawns in dried, doesn't spawn in rotten, but the raw will become rotten. That's how that works. It doesn't automatically mean because you find a mushroom or a bit of fruit that another player is there. It just means there is a player there, but that player could well be you. Alright? No dramas, mate. I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh, just maybe one thing on food. So obviously, you can just walk up to a chicken and hit it with a knife. It used to be you could punch them with one punch. That's that's changed with the recent update, and I've tried it. And you hit them once and they run away, which means you need to chase them, and they're a bugger to try and hit once they're running. But if you hit them with a knife, you kill them instantly, or an axe, or or if you shoot them. But my advice would be hit them with a knife or a machete or something like that. You can do the same with sheep and goats. I probably wouldn't try it with a cow just because they're so darn big. You'd have to hit them a lot because as soon as you hit them, they're going to run away. Which is fine. It took me 3 hits to bring down a goat with a machete. The other trick you can do, which I have done before, is if you can startle them or spook them, you can sometimes corral them towards the infected, and the infected will attack them. So the infected will attack sheep and goats. I'm not sure if I've ever seen them attack a cow, and deer spawn out in the wilderness, etc., etc. It used to be that the infected used to attack wolves, but I think it was season 2. I got surrounded in a house by wolves and infected, and they didn't attack each other, and I was a bit confused by that. So don't try it with. Don't think that you can run through a town full of infected, and the infected will attack the wolves. There's absolutely no guarantees. But they will attack sheep and goats. So if you can corral the sheep and goats and you can herd them towards the infected will attack them, and they're better at chasing them and killing them. The problem being you can't let the infected see you, because if they see you, they'll turn on you instead. So that's sometimes a good way to get an animal killed if you can get behind it and kind of scare it towards some infected and get the infected to do the hard work for you. Right, well, I'm fully loaded. I need to get out of here. I need to head back. I'm going to get lighter because I'm going to eat some food on the way back. But, yeah, that's it. So long from here for a little bit. Kia ora, team. This is a post-edit conversation I want to have with you about what you're watching on screen. So, you probably remember me talking about I built that little shelter down in Poland, and I was contemplating about whether I could use it for a base or not. So what you're seeing now is me exploring that idea. So I got the fence kit out, and I built a fence kit, and I had a look, and I ran around for a bit, and I built a fence. But I guess the issue is the same as you have before, is with building these bases, is these collision boxes around trees are just quite large. So, you know, you've probably seen, or you will have seen, content creators and talking about servers, PC servers with a Build It Anywhere mod, which I think takes care of some of those issues. We don't have that on console. So whenever you try and build things or put things in place, especially with your build kits and your shelter kits and your so-ons, watchtowers and fences and things, you obviously have to build around things, but you can't just build through. So like struggling to build through between 2 trees, for example, can be a significant pain. Or you find that you can build through, but then you can't attach anything to the other side, which starts to get a bit of a nuisance. So after a while of struggling with that, I decided that was probably not a good idea and moved on to a new location. So what we'll do now is I'll just leave it in the time lapse for me actually deciding that building here is ultimately a bad idea, and it's probably a whole truck ton easier if I find a new location to build. And that's it. I go off and I find a new location and I start afresh, reusing supplies, of course. I mean, why not? Be rude not to. So, ooh, it's a bit of a close one. Could have got that a little bit closer, maybe. But there you go. So we've got a little bit of a hole through here, which you can be shot through, which is, you know, it is what it is. This one, you got a little hole there, another hole there, and another hole there. So it's not like it's you know, that kind of base. This is like a little, it's a solo base. It's for me. There's all I need is what's in here, right? And if we have a look at the space, so let's assume one of these bad boys is a gate, right, or something. Can we put, you know, it's kind of close, but we can put one in there. We're probably not going to be able to get one next to it. Two is just quite not enough. What if we could we shoehorn it in? Probably not. 1, 2, you know, 3. I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest. I mean, we need the shelter kit, so we'll hang on to it. But what we need to do is we need to start making some framing. Now that other base, that redundant base up there, has an awful lot of timber on it, which when we take it apart, we'll also get nails. So I'm planning on gathering some supplies from up there and bringing it down here. What I'm not fabulously sure about is how much of this you need to make the frame, because the fence comes in two parts, right? You have the framing, which players cannot get through, and then you have the paling. You know, you have the actual timber panels that people can't shoot through mostly. So I'd like to get the framing up and have a look at what that looks like, but I'm not 100% sure on how to do that. To be 100% honest, it's been an awfully long time since I've built anything, so it's going to be a little bit of a surprise trial and error kind of a thing. I think that's fine. I don't think people can't get through there. Yeah. So that's the next stage. So we've laid out what we wanted to lay out, and it's not that bad. 2 panels by 2 panels by 2 panels. That's a fairly, I think that's an okay size. You know, and we can try and see just exactly how many shelters we might be able to shoehorn in here for storage, and leave room for other things. But yeah, it seems fine, and no one's come down here, at least not that I'm aware of. It might change now because I'm right out on the edge, and this is going to be visible from the edge. So if anyone is coming down the edge here for whatever reason, and, you know, passing through or coming around the edge of the river and coming through here, they'll see it. And I can't really do anything about that. I mean, when we pick up camo nets, we'll throw camo nets on it, but it's still going to be very obvious. We just need to protect it. We just need to put in barbed wire on the top, so that stops people building a watchtower next to it and climbing in over the top and then dismantling it from the inside. If we can, we might be able to get some booby traps and booby trap it. You know, there's place around here for tripwires and things that might be obscured by the bushes and stuff, so we could try and deter trespassers that way. That kind of thing. I mean, that's base living. That's the way bases are. And eventually at some point it'll get raided. So, you know, what we do is we don't keep our best gear here. This is a stopping off point, a recharge point. We might keep odds and sods and bits and pieces, freshy gear. So if we do get shot out into Poland or somewhere else, when we spawn, we come down the edge of the map, we come round, we come straight into our base. No drama llama. Yes? All right. Well, I have to dash. But that's it, and I think I'm gonna call this one here for now, And because it's been an awful long time, I've been doing an awful lot of running around, gathering things in bits and pieces. And I know it's probably not the most exciting episode ever, but as someone said, you know, a lot of content creators just show all the excitement of DayZ and all the running around and shooting and the PvP and the all the rest of it. And an awful lot of it is like this: gearing up, getting ready, putting in the graft, you know, building boxes, carton boxes around or crates around, chopping down trees, finding places to make bases, scouting around, finding other bases, trying things, finding out they don't work, trying something different. This is DayZ. And this is the honest version of DayZ that you get from me on console. So there you go. So, ta-ta for now, and I'll see you all again real soon.
PlayStation